Hi guys, my name is Michelle and welcome to my channel. I make time-lapse videos of how I did my paintings. I'm going to create a series of videos of my process of painting an animal's eye, and I'm starting with a cat's eye today. So I start with a quick sketch directly on the canvas. Then I look at the reference photo and see what are the basic colors that I need. So from this photo I prepare these colors: yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cadmium yellow pale hue, phthalo blue, titanium white, cadmium red deep hue, viridian hue, and cadmium orange hue. Next, I begin to mix a black color from the red, blue, and green. In a cat or a dog's eye, there's a rim where the eyeball meets the eyelid. This place usually has the darkest black. I often start painting from here, then the pupil. Next, I add just a tiny bit of white and paint the part above the black rim. On the uppermost part of the eyeball, where there's a cast shadow from the eyelid, I mix the paint with a bit of yellow ochre and burnt sienna. It's not just a gray color because the main color of the eyeball is yellow. From here is like a patchwork of colors. I will separate areas of different colors, fill them in, and blending afterwards. Note that I will paint at least 2 layers of colors. I usually try to get the first layer of color rather accurately for the eyes. It makes it easier later on. I apologize that the video is actually not properly focused. It was a careless decision of me. I don't know what came over me to set the canvas and color palette this way. I'm a right-hander. I should have placed the color palette on my right. That would also make the painting area more to the center, which means easier for the camera to focus on. So the image is really not very good in this video. Sorry about that. I will change for a better layout next time. When filling in the yellow, I start to blend the colors together. Lighter color can easily cover the darker color, so sometimes I have to go back in to paint the darker color, then blend with the lighter one. Here I'm not painting the full details yet, as this is not the final layer. So I'm done with the eye for this layer. I'm just going to speed up the part where I paint the nose and fur, as this video is about painting the eye. So day 2. The first layer is more or less dry. I forgot to mention I do mix the color with a bit of medium. Without medium it's kind of hard for me to paint onto the canvas. Especially this canvas, it's a very rough linen, so I always add medium when painting. The process is basically the same. Start with the darkest color and moving on to lighter color. And I'll add the final details in this layer. Here I notice I have painted the pupil slightly too straight. This eye sort of looks to the front, but the eye in the reference photo looks to the upper front. So I corrected it here, just make it slightly more slanted. One thing to note here is that the iris does not look smooth. You can see the texture on the iris, like there are random short lines radiating from the pupil. So I'm trying to depict that here. Also, the part where the edge of the pupil meets the iris, it's not good to paint a very defined black edge. There should be a tiny bit of blending here, so as not to make the pupil looks like a cutout sticker on the eyeball. Here to create the textured look, I am not really painting but more like dabbing and blending the colors at the same time so that it will have a random look. Here I'm trying to paint the shadow of the cat's eyelashes. This part is really hard for me because this canvas's tooth is really big, as it's a very rough linen, so it is hard to paint smooth tiny lines, especially when the white is still wet. I didn't put too much details here, fearing I might make a wrong move and ruin the whole look of it. The fur around the eyes are usually the last to add in. Same thing here, the rough linen makes it hard for me to add smooth tiny lines. I managed here in the end, but I don't think it looks as good as I wanted it to be. But anyhow, it's done. What do you think of this eye? Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye.